With your permission, we are now recording. I'm sure they record everything anyway and just give it to the government, but.
Oh yeah, Bill Gates has all of this. He has this whole.
But Bill Gates is working for the good. It's like Mark Zuckerberg. You want to stay away from him.
How have you been, man?
I have my good days and my bad days. You know, like everybody.
Definitely like everybody, but like this situation now is getting pretty. It's unique. I think about the people who have like actual anxiety issues and problems like that, and I just wonder really what they're doing right now.
I don't know.
How are they handling this?
I don't know. I've been like trying to find like new hobbies. I'm like, what can I get into? Like that's totally alone and like it doesn't involve really going outside.
Yeah. So because we had COVID, like I don't know if you heard, but there's this like virus thing going on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's this new thing that just dropped.
The new mixtape for the year.
The new drop, yeah, took the world by storm.
It definitely did do that.
That happened, and then we had these protests, which are still going on.
Yes, they are. They literally happened on our street. We were just like playing games with friends, and then all of a sudden we hear like Black Lives Matter, and I'm like, what? It's like there's a protest on our street. I didn't have my sign up.
I love what y'all are doing too. Like really, like I saw y'all like giving out water and masks and stuff.
Yes, we're trying to remain socially distant, but also be supportive, and it's very difficult.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, the only thing I can do is give money, but I can only give so much money because I don't have a lot.
And so people are trying to find this place of how they can help, and I felt like it was really interesting when you reached out and you said that you wanted to release Don't Let the Fire Out.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it is very apropos. It is very like specific to this situation. So weird and ironic that like
I'm ahead of the curve on so many things.
Of course. But also you reaching out and saying like, hey, I don't want to be tone deaf, and like
yes,
just do that is maybe the first step that a lot of people can make, like just asking like,
yeah,
what I'm not trying to come off this way, what should I do? And I felt like what we're doing is probably like the key to it all, like vulnerability and like having open conversations. But I love this. I love this conversation. I was thinking of like what you brought up a really good point. Just the fact that you had asked the question made me think a lot about like this concept of white guilt.
Oh yes. I have a lot of it.
Really?
But I'm also a woman, so I'm like, okay, I've definitely been, put down because I'm a woman. I've been put down because I'm foreign. So I'm like,
at a certain point, it's like how much. Oh, that's also a good point. It's like some people become cynical because it's like, at what point, how much can I take? Like I'm a victim too. Like people a lot of the times feel like they are like I'm it's not my fault, you know what I mean? I didn't do this personally, and I feel like that's also a really key thing because like we didn't do this to ourselves either. Like we're not responsible for our past. Like I mean we are responsible for our past, but we didn't bring this about ourselves. Like you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I don't know. So just asking and saying like this whole concept of like white guilt, and then you have like these videos released of like these celebrities that are like, I take responsibility.
Oh my God, that was the most. I didn't even watch it because I was like, I know I'm gonna cringe, and I hate cringing, so that's not even going to. But Yeah, that's why I was like, because I made like a, like a little video of like all these protests going on in like Hong Kong, and then I just added a bunch of more video footage of the Black Lives Matter thing, and then I have stuff from like Buddhist monks setting themselves on fire, like,
In
so,
protest?
huh?
In
Yeah, in
protest?
protest. Yeah, there's this crazy video. I forget exactly what year it happened, but there's a bunch of Buddhist monks, and one of them, I think it was like something to do with the Dalai Lama or something, and one of them just lights himself on fire in front of like a whole crowd of other monks, and it's like at the end of the video I was like, is this like tasteless? But I'm like
Yeah, I mean it is, but granted it would be perfect promotion for the song.
Yes, that's why I'll send you what I have so far, because I started my friend DK, he's still in Brooklyn, and I was like, like if you have any more footage that you've gotten, because he's always videotaping stuff, and I was like, if you have any footage of the Black Lives Matter stuff, like please send to me. I have like one video I took the other day when I was handing stuff out, and he was like, you should put it on TikTok.
I think
I hate
TikTok. The only way we'll really be able to get past this, and I also have like a really, most of my mind is kind of cynical about the situation, because it's a lot of awareness, which is good. I love the awareness around the situation, and it looks like it's actually moving to a point where the momentum can actually provide some type of actual change. But then it's like, my mind always goes to like, where were you? This is not the first, this is not the last. We've seen viral killings of unarmed people before. Why is this the thing? And I mean, to be honest, of course, this has to do with COVID. Like, a lot more people at home, a lot more people with time on their hands.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it's the idea that, like, we're all kind of we're all more aware of our connection to people more than ever because of COVID.
Because we don't have any.
Because we don't have any connection, and we actually have to physically distance ourselves, meaning, like, you would normally just be right next to somebody, but you are more aware that you affect that person more than ever. So, like, the practice of being in that mind state over and over again, I feel like has translated into this situation, because it's like, yeah, we're all connected. This does affect us. Like,
yes.
And that's where this whole like concept of kind of like white guilt fits in, because they feel like, and I'm saying they, because even that's a generalization, like, white, like I can't straight up call you white, like you're not white to me, like it's weird. Like, people are like, we need to see white allies, and it's like, I'm Scottish, and he's like, you're white. Like,
yeah,
you're not, but that's honestly like the same thing I was thinking about, like my cynical thoughts. Like, it's just not the point. Like, yeah, so what, they weren't there before, so what, like the outcry wasn't as much before, it just doesn't matter. Like, it's more important to make your voice heard and have these conversations.
I was talking to my mom the other day, and she has said some outright racist shit in her day. I had to be like, whoa. But I also am like, you grew up in a country that's like 99.999% white, like it's so white. And maybe even now they have like a little bit more diversity, but not really. And
So
we're having she just like, she never grew up with diversity, whereas I did. And we had to have a conversation where I was actually surprised it didn't evolve into like some kind of argument, where I was just like, listen, what you're saying, I know it doesn't sound racist to you, but it's not that it's like, it's like so systematic that's like you don't even realize that the stuff that you're saying is race, like on a base level is racist. And I'm not trying to like call you out. I'm not trying to tell you that you're like a screaming racist, but what I'm saying is that your thoughts, like that I'm hearing right now, I'm like, I too used to have these thoughts, and I had like, and I admitted it, and then I was like, I have to learn and move on and like grow up and realize that like what my thinking is wrong. And I was just trying to like open her up and be like, I too used to think these ways, but like we've got to change our way of thinking if we want to.
You just got to open your mind. Like I said, expand like the way you're thinking about something. We would like to think it's easier to think for us. It actually makes us more comfortable. It's easier to think that everything's so simple. Like there's bad guys, there's good guys. Everybody it's so easy and it's more comforting to think that it's that simple. But the reality of the situation that it's painfully nuanced, and it's painfully complicated, just like people are. Like,
yes.
It's not about black or white. It is about that on one layer,
yes.
but like more so about the fact that like this is people, and this is like, we're talking about equality. We're talking about like what is your God-given right as a person in this world. So it doesn't just because like you haven't had a personal experience with that group, and partly a lot of what you're learning is based off of what you're being told and what you're seeing, I can understand that, because if you don't see it up close, then like you don't fully understand it.
Yeah, she mentioned like a coworker. She's like, "Oh, I have a black coworker, and they've never mentioned this stuff." I'm like, "Why would they mention it to you?" I'm like, "I have friends that are black, and they don't mention every time that there is like a microaggression against them. Like, I don't mention every time someone makes some microaggression towards me. Like, I get catcalled, and I'm just like, and I move on, you know, unless it's something really, really atrocious, and in which case I will be like, "Can you believe this guy said this?" Like,
right. And women have dealt with that type of adversity in the same way minorities have. It's just like with black people specifically, it's so deeply rooted. And you were saying like the problem is that you don't know what you don't know.
yeah.
Like that's the way ignorance works. Like all you do is look for things that confirm what you already believe, and the things that you don't know, you don't even know what questions to ask so that you can get the data to ask more questions. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
It's just a ignorance loop, and it keeps you in it that way. So if you don't have somebody expanding your perspective, or like you have an experiential data that you collect that changes your mind, like you just get deeper and deeper into that loop. It's weird.
Yeah, I remember her saying something like, "Well, you know what? Like they should stop like being drug dealers and get jobs." I'm like, "Yeah, but they can't get jobs because they're put into these like ghettos, and they just like can't get out of it because they're systematically put down, and like they're not giving the same opportunities." I'm like, I have to have this conversation. I'm like, I'm not the person to be telling this information. Like, I don't know a lot of it. I was like, you should really go on to one of these documentaries on Netflix or something and watch one of them, because they can definitely tell you way more than I can tell you. But I'm like, I'm telling you right now, they just don't have the opportunities. They can't just lift themselves up from the bootstraps. Like,
interesting that you say that, because it's like the feeling that even there's a lot of black people who don't feel like, look, it's not my place to educate you. Go educate yourself. And it's also like you talk white guilt, and it's not. I want white people to stop focusing so less on feeling guilty and more so on getting educated, and then educating their white brethren and their white sisters, and like, because what this is really going to take, which is like the scariest fucking thing to any human, let alone like people been in this position for a long time, it's going to take like a complete dismantling of the way that y'all see yourselves and the way that y'all see us. It's going to like, because for a while, like this inherent bias is so deeply rooted. I actually posted like some stuff about on my Instagram about bias. The way bias works is that it's just like, it's subconscious. Like it buries itself into your view of how you see the world. So like, just like the drug dealers thing, or like the thing about black on black crime. Black on black crime doesn't exist. It's proximity. People are poor. You rob the people close to you. It just so happens we're all in the same neighborhood. Nobody talks about white on white crime. Nobody talks about Chinese on Chinese crime.
Yeah.
It's proximity. They're close to each other. That's why they're killing each other. If you look at neighborhoods that are mostly Chinese, the crimes that happen are done by Chinese people.
Yeah.
You know, so like just stuff like that, where it's like so many myths and so many things that we've been taught to believe as just normal things. It's like, no, even that's not true. Like, so it takes so much. It's going to take so much. And if I love the fact that like, I feel like at this point people are willing to do the work, maybe because they have the time to do the work. But like,
that is true.
It's weird.
I'm really hoping that like the people will continue to care for this next election. Because if we just are like, this is a fun fad to be a part of, and I just want to get out of my house, and then it's over in a month, and then everyone just goes back to voting for their shitty politicians, I'll be like, well, that did not work.
Don't let the fire go out.
That's why I mean, I wrote that about so many like personal, it was like, I don't even know. I'm not even like a big protester. Like I never really went to any because I was like afraid of big crowds. I was afraid of, I don't know,
Yes.
like, I was just like,
I went to my first protest. I'm the same. Yeah.
Yeah. And, but I wrote that because I was like, I know that there's stuff that like, the rich will always like trump the poor and they'll always try to keep everyone down. Like, it's always gonna be like that, and no matter what country you're in or what color your skin is, I'm like, there's always gonna be somebody who's trying to like hold somebody down so they can be higher up, and I mean that's
it's
what I was thinking.
That's true. That's like the most human thing ever. Like that transcends in all generations. Like there's always somebody trying to put your fire out, and the main thing, like even in my verse, like deep inside I feel that flame emerging from a fire, a desire to change. We all have like that fire, we all have it there, but a lot of times it's not strong enough to move you to action. It's just there. It'll move you to complain about it. It'll move you to like maybe post some shit about it, but actually like getting out in the streets and making your voice be known, even that, like even because I went to 2 protests, and even that like felt a little like old. It felt like rudimentary. I'm not insulting the process or not. It just felt like something that was so old, and something that like we're still in the streets, like literally saying like, stop killing us, stop killing us. It just seems so like, not, I don't know, it seemed like a very old practice, and it's weird that we even have to do that. It's weird that we have to fucking do that for them to be like, all right, we'll arrest him. We'll bring him up on charges.
I think that's why social media is a very important tool in this day and age for this kind of thing. Like all the stupid Karens getting called down for like calling the cops for dumb reasons. Like, I'm like, good, lose your jobs, maybe that's what it takes. It takes a bunch of dumb white Karens to lose their jobs because they're racist and like gonna call the cops on a black guy just because he's like bird watching in Central Park. It's like, what? Like, just mind your own business. Sorry, what? I can't. Your audio cut out for a second.
I was saying, like, in her defense, like, don't bird watch. That's weird.
No, I knew. He has the right to do it, though. You should be free to
bird watch. No matter who you are, you should be free to bird watch. But, like, also, don't bird watch. You bird pervert.
Bird pervert. That's pretty great. Maybe he is. I guess he's bird pervert.
But I'm excited, and I think that you should drop the song. It's not, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I don't think it's tone deaf. I don't think people are going to see it as you trying to benefit off of this situation. Because, I mean, everybody protests in their own way. And also, you wrote it a while ago. It's also that fact. But on top of that, it's the idea that, like, we all need these positive affirmations. We all need these messages, and music is the best way for them to be ingrained into us. And if a lot of people are trying to capitalize off of like the COVID and trying to capitalize off of this whole movement, but what you're trying to do and what we're trying to do is like organic, and you put it out there and hope that people actually feel that. And if they don't and they miss the point, you got to realize that people are going to do that regardless of what you ever do.
It is
people
true.
Miss the point. That's the whole all lives matter debate.
Yes.
You're missing it. You're missing the point.
Yes, yes, they are. Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna send you the video that I have right now, and if you have any other footage that maybe you've taken or your friends have taken and you want to send to me, I can put them in the video. Right now, it's like an amalgamation of Black Lives Matters, like women's marches, and this like poor Buddhist monk lighting himself on fire.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not that. Like, there's, maybe not.
Well, okay, I'll send it to you and you can tell me what you
Send it
think.
to me. Yeah, send it to me.
Like I said, I don't have a release date in mind. I was like going to release the small EP to follow up my album, and this song was going to be on it as well as like another song I'm working on. And I kind of put it on hold because of the pandemic. And then I was like, damn it, now there's like protests happening and this song is perfect. I'm like, God, I should put this out. Oh no.
Yeah. I
And also
appreciate you.
I don't want to like stop putting out music just because the world is ending either. Like,
Well, that's crazy. That's funny. I put out a song on June 3rd, and June 3rd was the day that they did the whole blackout thing.
poor timing.
I literally scheduled it like weeks in advance.
But then everyone was like, oh, we shouldn't be blacking out this day. Everyone should be putting out
Yes.
information. And I'm just like, I don't know what's right anymore. And and now I feel even guiltier because I am just trying to figure out what is the right thing to do here. Like,
so you're doing the right thing by asking, but it's also, you have to recognize that like what I just said, you're going to offend somebody, or you're not going to be able to do it the perfect way. Part of this whole dismantling of like the image, the white image, and how they see themselves and how we see them and stuff, is going to be like a blunder. You're not going to always do it the right way. Even these people who are recording the, I take accountability, those actors or whatever doing that. Yeah, they might be doing it for their own personal benefit, or it might look messy, it might be cringeworthy, but like, it's not going to be pretty, and you're going to do it however way that you feel that you need to do it. And it's the attempt. You're attempting. If you put some action behind your words, that's all that matters. Like, just don't just talk. That's all it's about. Don't just talk. If you be like you and get out there and give people water and give people masks. If you can't be out there yourself, then be of assistance. Be there. Just be there. That's all it is, I feel like. And I speak on behalf of the Black delegation.
I took this test on BuzzFeed and it was like, how privileged are you? And I out of 100, I got like 43 or something, which means I'm not that privileged. And some of the questions were, I mean, there was like sexuality, race, gender, all this stuff. And one of them was like, I have 2 heterosexual parents. And I was like, nope.
Nope.
Nope. And it was just like, I've never been catcalled. Like, nope. No one has ever had trouble pronouncing my name. Like, nope. Like,
yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, you're not very privileged. You built your shit from the ground up. It's part of the reasons why I respect you. You're one of the more respected people in my life.
Thank you.
For sure. It.
Because, yeah, I mean, I got made fun of a lot for despite being white, I got made fun of all the time. And it sucked. I hated who I was. I hated my name. Like, and that's just shitty white people.
Right. I mean, it's weird. Because I think I was like, I always tell, because this idea, what you're saying is like, and then picture all of that, and then having like the hatred of you or like your people be worked into the actual like system of which y'all live. And it was like, well, yeah, I mean, nobody can really imagine that, but like that's currently what we're living in. And I'm not the type of person that's always, I mean, honestly, I try to think as neutral as possible. And there's certain situations that you just can't think neutral about. Like this situation, I think Black people have been pretty chill up to this point.
Yeah,
like,
I would say so.
This has happened before. We've marched, did it again, and we do it again, and we march.
But I've never seen this many non-Black, like I've seen so many white people doing it and being like super like, I'm gonna make a change, and I'm like, all right, okay.
And some of those people, And some of those people are doing it for them so that they can feel better about themselves.
Sure.
And even those people, I'm like, whatever you got to do. Like, I'm not one of those people. I'm not like deeply cynical in that way where I'm like, oh, you know, you're doing that for yourself. Oh, I got to see all these white people out here. Like, missing the point. It's just like All Lives Matter. You're missing the point.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about it. So keep doing what you're doing, Ashi.
I like the Ashi. That's cute.
Put this goddamn song out and cut this video into clips. Cut this video into clips and use this as a promotion, and you won't be able, and nobody will be able to say anything to you. Well, this is, yeah, I'm talking, well, for the video, for sure, I'll try to get, I have some protest footage and stuff.
Yeah,
but I mean, like, parts of this conversation, like cutting up like the best parts and uploading it, like, hey, we released this song, this is me and so this is me and Knight having a conversation about what white guilt is, or like, this is, you know, we were apprehensive about putting this out because of so and so. Here's us having a conversation, like showing people the vulnerability. That's the reason why I wanted to have this conversation, because you asked me and I'm like, I actually don't know, like, let's talk about it. You know?
Yeah, I remember we were talking about, we had like a Zoom party and everyone was like, you know, like if violence and like trashing businesses on Melrose is what like gets people, you know, Black people to like get their rage out, and I'm like, maybe that's fair. And I'm like, yeah, I think for me it's making a song. Like that's how I do
that. I'm not about to be out there, and I don't even want, and the main thing is, like, I don't want people to focus more on the riots anyway, because there's way not even close more peaceful protests than bullshit riots, and people are still trying to figure out who exactly were the perpetrators of these riots. Of course, it was like some Black Lives Matter or some Black people that were doing it, but it's not 100%.
No, they were just taking advantage of the situation.
Exactly.
A lot of like, the looters and stuff. So it's like, it sucks. I mean, yeah, that's what you're saying. It's very nuanced. It's like, it's just not black and white. There's a lot of gray areas.
Yeah, and it would be so nice to think that it was simple, that it was just simple, and like it wasn't deeply and profoundly complicated. Ignorance is bliss, you know. It feels good.
Yeah, if you don't know there's a problem, you can't be angry that you don't know how to solve it.
Right. And I was thinking about that with racism in general. I feel like racist people just long, it's almost like nostalgia. Like they long for a time that they just, everything was simpler. Like, you did this, I got to just chill, I got to be me, I didn't have to think about all these deep social issues. It's like a weird form of nostalgia for a time. Like, even like the people now, like in our generation, who are like racist, or like their parents and stuff, they didn't even experience those times, but they're still nostalgic for a period that they never experienced. It's like generational, like passed down nostalgia for those times where everything was simpler. Does that make any sense?
It makes sense. I just like don't even think it was simpler. Like it was always complicated. It was always like, you know, like I don't know. It just.
But they didn't have to think about it though. Like,
that's true.
It was always complicated, but it was like, well, not for us though. Like,
yeah.
In a minute, Black people started like demanding rights. Like, hey, I'm like you, and it's like, no, you're not like me, right? You know, like it was simpler to just think like, no, you're a different thing. That's why you're in this position. You're not like me. And it's hard to come to terms with like, oh no, you're actually exactly like me. You have the same worth. And that's a dismantling of everything you know. Now I got to question everything. And most people don't want to do that. Most people, even if they find an inkling, it's hard to tear down what you know to be true. You're not going to put in the effort to do that. It's like, why would I do that? That hurts, you know?
Yeah, it takes work. But also then you have to admit that you've been wrong, and people hate doing that.
And people, that's where it starts too. And people are definitely not doing that. And that's partially because people have this thing, and even I have this thing where somebody will ask me a question and I'll give them an answer, even though I don't really fucking know like what I'm saying. Like, I just feel like I need to have an answer. And that's partially because people just always feel like they don't want to feel like they don't know things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's weird.
Yeah, it's also, I notice a lot of people they overcorrect also on a lot of these issues. Like, I remember one time my roommate Shannon, she went to Afro Punk Fest in Brooklyn, and then later on went to some, I think it was like a Drake show or something, I don't know, with our other friend Andrew, who's also white. And some guy in front of them, they were talking to him, and they, like, at some point the guy was just like, what do you like white people doing at Afro Punk? Like, that's not for you. And I'm like, Afro punk is for everyone. And then she was like, oh my God, was I being racist by going? I was like, no, you went and enjoyed the music that you love. That's not, probably were like, yes, give us your white money, bitch. Like,
right, he's a fucking idiot. And was I being racist by going?
Yeah, she's like, was I being disrespectful? I'm like, no, you went and enjoyed your day and like had fun in like a city you live in, and you supported your artists that you love that have been making music. You know, like, what? Like, fuck that guy.
And fuck that dude for like not recognizing progress.
Yeah.
That's actually a great thing.
I know. I'm like, no, there's nothing wrong with like you enjoying music made by Black people. Like, that's totally okay. Just don't, appropriate.
Right. And that's a whole other conversation for a whole other day. Like, appropriating.
Yes. I mean, I get hired all the time to make like Black music, and I'm like, you guys know I'm white, right? Like, I'm just doing my best. Like, I'm not a hip hop producer at all.
And then that puts you in a weird position to like kind of be I don't know what you would even call that. Like, I have to get myself in a Black mind state. What is Black? Let me see what Black music sounds like. Let me try to make some Black music. Like, oh my gosh.
That's pretty much my life in a nutshell. But I have to also make super, super white music I hate too. So it's just like,
Oh yeah, I've watched you edit a Macy's commercial.
Yeah. Oh my God.
The whitest shit I've ever heard.
I currently have music on an Olive Garden commercial. That is the whitest shit I could possibly do.
Yeah.
But it paid me the big bucks, so I don't care.
The big bucks. I feel like on the list of whitest things you could do is 1, bird watch, 2, own a slave, and 3, make music for an Olive Garden commercial.
Yeah, there you go. Boom. I like how bird watching is right over slavery.
Oh, for sure.
But what if you're a slave owner that also bird watches? Then it's like,
then you are white Jesus.
The second Messiah.
He's back.
Oh Lord, he's coming.
Oh man, thank you for doing this. This is fun. We should actually talk more outside of talking about racial injustice.
No. We're gonna have a class. We're gonna start a Zoom class on racial injustice. We're be the teachers.
They don't want to have that. They do not want us teaching a class on anything, let alone racial injustice. They want us to keep dropping these hits.